In mixed martial arts, there are many impressive records. Because the sport is still young in comparison to the more mainstream sports like football and baseball, most existing records are likely to be broken. In its first 22 years, MMA has been on a wild ride, with some crazy things happening. Let's take a look at some UFC records that may never be broken. But before that, remember to like and subscribe to this channel for more videos. Now, let's get this party started. Youngest UFC champion. Jon Jones won the light heavyweight title at UFC 128 in March of 2011. He was the youngest UFC champion ever at the age of 23 years and 8 months. He easily handled Mauricio Shogun Rua and hasn't relinquished the title since. At the age of 27, he has 8 championship defenses under his belt and has looked invincible in nearly all of them. Jones's record of becoming a 23-year-old UFC champion stands out among his amazing stat sheet, and he's on his way to shattering more. We may see a younger UFC champion down the road as more young athletes get into mixed martial arts at a younger age. Most takedowns in a UFC fight. Khabib Nurmagomedov defeated Abel Trujillo by unanimous decision at UFC 160 in May of 2013. Nurmagomedov knocked Trujillo to the ground a record 21 times in 27 tries during the battle. Nurmagomedov hauled Trujillo back down every time he went to his feet. Because Nurmagomedov allowed Trujillo to get back on his feet so many times, the takedowns weren't very noteworthy on their own. However, Nurmagomedov's record of forcing another mature man to the ground against his will totals 21 times. Nurmagomedov is one of the top grapplers in the UFC, and he won't be outdone anytime soon with his takedown exhibition. Fastest finish in a UFC championship fight. In 14 seconds, you cannot submit someone at the highest level of mixed martial arts. The circumstances surrounding Ronda Rousey's 14-second tap on Kat Zingano will never be repeated. There isn't a single competitor in the UFC who can find the armbar better than Rousey. Zingano's frantic run across the cage and 2-second tie-up with Rousey expedited the fight's almost inevitable conclusion. Many fights have ended in less than 14 seconds, generally due to freak knockouts. It's over with a fast kick to the skull. In UFC championship fights, though, this isn't the case. Zingano tapped in 12 despite the record saying 14. Rousey's record for the fastest conclusion to a UFC championship fight will stand for a long time. Fastest knockout in MMA. Mike Garrett and Sam Herron both made their mixed martial arts debuts in a Warrior Challenge event in March of 2014. The referee asked the men if they were ready. They both said yes, and the battle ended abruptly. Garrett hit with a head kick right away, knocking Herron out. Garrett's knockout came 1.13 seconds into the fight, making him the fastest knockout in MMA history. It's hard to imagine a fight ending as quickly as this one did. Garrett's MMA debut was historic since he will almost certainly own this knockout record forever. Most professional MMA fights. Travis Fulton has participated in 312 professional mixed martial arts fights at the age of 37. That is downright terrifying. It goes without saying that there is much too much fighting going on here. The Iron Man is a suitable nickname for Fulton. Dan the Beast Severn, who has officially fought 127 times, is the only other guy that comes to mind with a comparable number of fights, but it's really not all that close. Of course, there have been many fighters who have competed in unofficial battles. Some people have had over 100. However, when it comes to the official record, Travis Fulton is the man to beat. His professional record is 251, 50, 10, and 1. Giving him the distinction of having the most wins. Let's hope no one tries to beat his record. Most undisputed title reigns. Randy Couture will go down in UFC history as one of the greatest fighters of all time. Couture defined the early years of not just the UFC, but the world of mixed martial arts with stars like Ken Shamrock and Royce Gracie at a time when the sport was struggling to establish its footing. Couture, a former Army sergeant, used his heavyweight tournament win at UFC 13, the night of his MMA debut, to launch him into the early championship scene, defeating Maurice Smith to become the company's third ever heavyweight champion in 1997. He would give up the belt to fight in Japan, then return to reclaim it in 2000. If that wasn't enough, the Natural decided to move down a level and win the light heavyweight championship twice, in 2003 and 2004 respectively, after knocking out division superstars Tito Ortiz and Vitor Belfort. After losing his light heavyweight title to opponent Chuck Liddell in 2006, Couture stunned the world by going up a division and defeating Tim Sylvia to reclaim the heavyweight title at the ridiculous age of 43. He has the most single reigns in both divisions, with the now retired Georges St. Pierre coming close to his total number of 5. Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic, Jose Aldo, and Conor McGregor are all active fighters with 2 reigns, but none will ever match Couture's famed 5. Longest single title reign. Anderson Silva's astounding 7-year tenure as middleweight champion is one of the sport's most incredible achievements, and few have even come close to matching it. After defeating Rich Franklin to win his first UFC title in 2006, the Spider embarked on a 10-fight winning streak against some of the division's top stars, including Dan Henderson, Damian Maia, Vitor Belfort, and Chael Sonnen twice. It's easy to see why he's regarded as one of the all-time greats, as he frequently puts on a performance that seemed bored by the lack of competition. His reign came to an end in 2013 when he was knocked out by Chris Weidman after one too many moments of showboating, but his place in history had already been secured. Only 2 other fighters have ever surpassed the 2,000-day threshold in terms of competition. Demetrius Johnson came the closest, dominating the flyweight division he helped establish, but lost to Henry Cejudo nearly a year later. If it hadn't been for the rocky history outside of the octagon that cost him his first light heavyweight title reign in 2015, Jon Jones would very certainly have surpassed this record. Fastest finish. When Jonathan Goulet was knocked out in 6 seconds at Fight Night 3, Duane Ludwig must have thought he had this one wrapped up for good. Jorge Masvidal, unfortunately for Ludwig and especially Ben Askren's face, crashed the celebration with one of the most widely replayed knockouts in UFC history. Masvidal ran across the ring at UFC 239 and blasted Funky with a flying knee to the melon within seconds, in the midst of a very heated animosity. Because of the fast speed, the fight clock graphic hadn't even appeared on the screen yet. Before the referee could intervene, Askren was out like a light, and Masvidal landed a pair more fuck you punches. The ref's speed is precisely why this record is unlikely to be broken or even tied at best. Askren was knocked out in less than 5 seconds, but a fight doesn't end unless the referee indicates it, and a human referee can only react so swiftly. Anyone could get close to this one with an immediate knockout strike, and a referee standing right next to both competitors with a good enough view to call an outcome, all inside 4 or 5 seconds of a professional bout. Latest finish. This record belongs in the category for a simple reason. It simply cannot be matched. Unless the UFC introduces a new rule or system that allows for 6-round fights, the very last second of the very final round is as late as it goes in the UFC. This extraordinary feat of tension and timing has only been accomplished twice in company history, both in the previous 5 years, eclipsing Frankie Edgar's submission of Cub Swanson at 4 minutes and 56 seconds of their 5th-round fight at Fight Night 57. Demetrius Johnson, a flyweight, was the first to pull off the last-second miracle, pulling in an armbar on Kyoji Horiguchi in the main event of UFC 186 in 2015, causing the Japanese contender to painfully tap out with the clock at 59 seconds of the 25th minute. The extraordinary drama of Horiguchi doing everything he had to hold on for just a second longer, while the defending champion scrambled and tore at his arm in a desperate attempt to keep his gold, was pure theater. The second instance occurred in a potential Fight of the Year contender between Yair Rodriguez and Chan Sung Jung at a Fight Night in 2018. With the final 20 seconds, a frenetic encounter resulted in the Korean Zombie being knocked out with an unbelievable rising elbow. Thank you for sticking with me to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel.